All right. So thanks for coming, Jay.
My pleasure.
It's been a while, so I got us some good wine. This is actually a nice one, a Morgon.
Oh.
I drank a huge bottle of this with a buddy recently.
How huge?
It was actually a double magnum.
Do you have a picture of that super big one that you drank with your friends that you can superimpose over the frame right now?
That's the one, yeah.
That is the one? That's super... Okay, I'm looking forward to this. The project that you just finished is not your first book, though, at the same time, right?
No, it's not. This is my third book. So I did one cookbook with my mom.
Mm-hmm.
So out of school, I didn't study photography. I studied economics and politics, and I was going down another professional route. And my mom was giving Indian cooking lessons at home. Mm-hmm. And what she wanted to do is basically do a PDF, like an ebook for my brother and I, my sister, cousins, whatnot, just to give everyone her recipes.
Yeah.
Kind of like, pass it along.
Yeah.
Because we travel a lot, so it's always good to have a few recipes on you when you're traveling, although I never have time to cook when I'm traveling.
Yeah.
But so we did that, and it was an ebook, and we shot on my mom's balcony where you had the butter chicken.
She's a very good cook. It's very delicious.
Much better cook than I am.
I'm looking forward to round 2.
Yeah, it should be pretty soon. Yeah, she's
hint.
Yeah, it will be very soon. So what we ended up doing is we shot on the balcony, and I made this PDF. And I kind of sent it out to a bunch of publishers, never got a response. Then I decided to print it out.
Yep.
With an online platform, how you do self-publishing.
Yep.
And the goal was to do self-publishing and just maybe sell it to friends and family, and I don't know, we were thinking a few hundred copies.
Yep.
But I went to this book fair. Paris has a book fair every year. Mm-hmm. And basically I went there with my book, and I printed really beautiful paper. It was the top quality everything. And I showed it to one publisher, this one person at Hachette, the publisher, mm-hmm. and she loved it, and she said, we're looking for someone to do an Indian cookbook in one of these, in this collection that we have. It's called home cooking. Yeah. So a few weeks later I go and I meet them, and a few months later we're shooting with a stylist in my mom's apartment. So that was my first project.
That's awesome. And then did that translate, that relationship with them from that first book? Is that what translated into this project, or how did you end up getting this project?
So after that first one, it was pretty successful in this collection, the home cooking one. Mm-hmm. So what we ended up doing is they changed the layout of it. So we reshot the book. We reshot that original one. We redid it with a bit of an updated look and updated recipe count. Mm-hmm. So we did that. So the first one is in 2000. It came out in 2014, and this one and the second one came out in 2017. Okay. Yeah, so that was the second one. Yep. And basically, once you have a relationship with a publisher, they like you to pitch ideas once in a while. Mm-hmm. I'd spent a month and a half back home, back in Bayonne, end of 2016, Christmas over to 2017. And I was just traveling, eating a lot, and I just put together a PDF, sent it to them, and said, I want to do a book on the Basque Country. No response, though.
The emails and PDFs don't seem to go very far.
I know, you got to get that face contact.
Yeah. So then did you approach them directly in person to get the gig, or how did that work?
No, I think what happened was that they told me basically, yeah, we'll let you know. We'll let you know if we it's a very interesting project. We like the idea. We'll let you know once we pitch it to the whole team. It's like a team decision. Got it. And a year and a half later, they contacted me for this book, and it's a slightly different format than I wanted, mm-hmm. but it's similar. They had a Basque cuisine book lined up already. Yeah. And they were just going with they already had a team in place, and it, for some reason, didn't end up happening. So they thought of me and they said, "Well, do you want to do it?" And I said, "Yeah, let's go."
Ah, that worked out really well. Now, when you do this project, this kind of a project, how much of it, the finished product, is your vision, what you're putting into it, and how much of a team element is there to it? Like, how much is out of your hands?
So for this particular book, content-wise, I had a lot of freedom. So mm-hmm. I basically chose all the restaurants. It was all through my network. Mm-hmm. They didn't impose anything on me in terms of who to go see. They just asked me not to go for Michelin-starred restaurants or restaurants that are too technical, because they want the reader to be able to do these recipes
to be able to make them themselves, because it's a recipe book in the end.
Right. Well. So it is a recipe book, and what I wanted to do originally was more of a travel stuff. But they said the only thing they told me in the beginning was, this is a recipe book. Everything has to be surround food, right? Food has to be the main thing. So in terms of producers, in terms of restaurants, I had had all the liberty, but in terms of the layout and the text that's going in there, I'm not doing any of that. So basically, I'm sending them the content, I'm sending them links and websites to check out, any information I can get while I'm on the road, while I'm shooting, send it over to them, and then they have a team of one person, I think, who's writing.
There is no I in team. That joke doesn't really work, but the concept is still there. So when all is said and done, how many people will have actually touched the book to create it? Not including the chefs.
So I think so. There's someone writing over at the publishers.
Yep.
She has her immediate boss, obviously, who's involved as well. And there is a team for the graphic design parts of the layout.
Mm-hmm.
So that, I don't know how many people. I think it's 1 or 2, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
But it could be 3, 4, and it could be maybe I think there's also someone else involved writing. So I think writing-wise, there's 2 people involved.
Wow.
And for the layout, I'd say at least 1 or 2.
Yeah, how does it work that you end up, how do you get the recipes? Like, you just walk in and say, give me your secrets, chefs? Like, how does that process go? I got to see some of this in person, too, so...
Yeah, and you were there at the beginning, and I don't know if you remember...
Before it was crazy.
Yeah, so when you came, it was actually the calm before the storm, right? So those 2 weeks in June where all restaurant owners will close down, take a rest, and basically prepare for the high season. And once that high season kicked in, everyone was fully locked in. It's work mode. That's where they make most of their money.
Yeah.
The whole year. Winter can be some of these restaurants around and open in the winter. That's how different it is.
Wow.
From December to July here.
Right.
There. So basically, what I did was I went there. I called a lot. I sent a lot of emails and no response. Chefs are some of the busiest people I've ever met.
Absurd, yeah.
Even when you do have their number, when you know them, they don't answer. So you got to go. You got to just keep going. So that's why I was driving so much. I kept going back, and if I didn't get an answer, I would just keep going back. And a lot of the people that I didn't get an answer, by going there, you would get the face-to-face time. Then you set up a first appointment where basically that first appointment is you explaining the project, explaining that you actually are a real person, you do exist, because maybe sometimes an email is a bit, it's a bit too easy to send an email. You want to see the face-to-face.
For sure.
And and then if you feel like they're interested, then you start opening the door. Like, how many recipes could you give? I tried this recipe.
Why would they give you a recipe though? What do they get out of it?
I think for them it's all about it is free publicity for them as well, and every chef loves to show what they're capable of.
Yeah.
And it's a great opportunity to show off the Basque Country, Basque food, and there's a bit of they're proud to be a part of that.
Yeah.
And there's so much press happening right now in the Basque Country for the past maybe 4 or 5 years that they're used to it, but they also used to doing it outside of this time period. It's usually everything's done before. It's probably between November and March because it's a bit. I wouldn't say it's dead. Well, in some places it is dead, but there's just more flexibility.
If somebody were to pick up this book, how many recipes would they expect to be in there?
I would say anywhere from 65 to 75 recipes, and then there'll be a few double-page spreads on producers. Local vegetables, the meats, the cheese, and hopefully some travel, because I did send them a few travel photos as well.
Yeah,
I'd love for
see the area a little bit.
Yeah, because in the beginning I wanted to put my pitch was to have a lot more travel photography mixed in with the food.
Well, and that's nice to get a feel for what the region is like, I'd imagine. So then, are these recipes people can actually make at home? Like, will they have the seasonings and or is this stuff going to be you need to have a culinary degree to...
No. So you don't need a culinary degree. Some of the recipes take a bit of time, but it's mostly just marinade and letting it rest. There's one dessert. I mean, for me, anything pastry related, it's kind of scary. But if you like cooking, I think you can recreate everything at home.
That's really
you
cool.
do need a few ingredients that you can find out, and some of these ingredients you'll be able to find in grocery stores here in Paris, or anywhere in France. Outside of Paris, you probably have to go to more specialized, cheese shops, or for example, this is salt with piment d'Espelette.
Oh yeah, you told me about that.
So
do I taste it? Is this what's happening?
You can taste it. It's got a bit of a kick to it. It's It's a bit smoky, right? So this, like for example, if you can't find this, you can probably order it online. Interesting story though about this. So as I told you, this time period really didn't fit a lot of. It was like the busiest time period of the year, right? Also, this is the most popular ingredient of the Basque Country, piment d'Espelette. And everyone knows it here. A lot of these famous chefs on Top Chef will put a bit of piment d'Espelette because it's red and it gives a bit of a kick. And it's kind of the trend now to put it on, like to finish a dish off like that, to give it a bit of color. Yeah. Kind of looks like paprika. The problem with this is that it only grows. It's growing right now, but it's not ready to be picked, and it's green, and the finished product is red, right? Right. And you'll only get this in October because there's a lot of rains this year.
Right. So you couldn't get any fresh.
So I couldn't get. So I had to like ask this farm to help me out, and I was lucky because I met them last year, and they were part of this initial pitch, and they're the ones who saved me with these photos because they had taken photos with like a really good local photographer.
Right, so they had photos of the actual peppers.
Yeah, but otherwise it would have been, we'd have had, it's like making a book without the star ingredient, which would have been crazy.
That would have been terrible. Yeah, that would have been unfortunate.
This guy who produces these mild peppers, he's part of this, association, right? Viperitia, which means this is the kind of the name of the root, I guess, because they don't originate from the Basque Country. They were brought over as well.
Where were they brought from?
South America.
Okay.
Yeah. Actually, chocolate and chilies were brought over from South America.
Right, and you're telling me chocolate came through Biarritz or Bayonne. Bayonne, yeah.
So chocolate came from with the Portuguese and the Spaniards through Bayonne, and it was one of the first places in France to have chocolate.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And what's awesome about these little chilies also is that there's every year for the Fête de Bayonne, which is a local festival, we all dress up in white and red. There's every year on the first day of our festival, there's a championship. So it's called the mild chili omelet world championship.
Oh yeah!
And this year I got to be a judge. I was on the panel and it was awesome.
I saw your Instagram stories. It looked delicious. I'm very jealous. Okay, so. Before we get, I feel like we're pretty far down the pepper hole.
Yeah. Ooh.
Sounds good.
Sounds painful.
Sounds awful. The rabbit hole with peppers.